Welcome to the Moto Moves podcast. Hey guys, welcome to the Moto Moves podcast and welcome back. It's been a minute. Um, So I'm excited to be back. Hopefully, I can jump back on this podcast train and be consistent. It's been a crazy almost a year, I think. We haven't produced anything. Actually, I had a podcast with a special guest and somehow didn't save or got lost or I don't know, whatever. It did some funky stuff. So now I have to make time to re-record, which sucks because it was a good episode. But hopefully we could do just as well the second time around. But with all that being said, welcome back. I'm happy to be back. And it's been a crazy year. And so I just want to show you guys real quick. At least I'm going to try to. Uh, so, yeah. So it's been a crazy year. So here's a clip of what my office looks like currently. I'm not proud of it. It's not great, but um, I wanted to talk about what was going on, and my office reflects my life and my mind. So you know that saying, "Cluttered room is a cluttered mind." Um, it's absolutely true. So, so So that's how my mind and my life has been for the past, I want to say 2 years, but more importantly, the past year, trying to get life back on track and trying to get things to a point where I was happy, I think, is what how I best I can put it. And so like um I just I think things came to a culmination. Like things are still not where they were over 2 years ago. My life is still completely different. But I've made peace with it. And so I think that that's what brought me to come and record and talk to you guys about it and in hopes that you guys relate and have had similar experiences. And so, or maybe you're going through it. And so this will kind of help you make peace with whatever change is going on in your life. And so I don't know if I mentioned last year, but my husband and I lost our employment. I lost it first, then he did. So it's been a total of 2 years. And so things have been rough and we've been trying to figure it out. And it's been, hey, that's my kitty cat. So life has been rough, right, for both of us. So it was rough for him. Obviously, it's not the financial part. But oh, actually, let me backtrack because I'm the one that lost. I lost it first. So I'd finished school, and which took me forever. And sorry. Which took me forever to finish school, right? Like I've told in my story before, I went to school like first not even part-time, like one class a semester and then part-time. And so it took me an eternity to finish school. And so to be able to be of the part of the workforce and a functioning part of society was like super important for me. And not only that, my mental health, right? So during that time, I was able to do some healing and work on myself. And so I felt like I finally could be a productive part of society, right? After all the things that I've been through. So I started working, and when I lost my job, it was just like, um, it was almost like I lost a sense of myself because I thought like, I worked so hard for this and I was doing so well. And I just didn't understand why, right? And so I had all those feelings of, I was going through grief, right? Those feelings of like denial. It was hard to accept. Like I didn't understand it, and I was so sad. And although my husband had a good job, still I felt like now I wasn't contributing to the home in that way. And so I know that I contribute to the home in different ways, right? So I know that, like, as a wife, as a mom, as a homemaker, like, all those things are things that I've been doing, right? And so being able to contribute financially and having some financial freedom, like, that was just like freeing, right? And so I lost that. And my husband was super supportive, like always supporting me. My cats are running amok here, guys. Like they're on one right now. But anyway, so he's always been super supportive in everything, right? So he was supportive here, right? He's like, "Don't worry, it's gonna be fine. You'll find something else." Um, Whatever. And then shortly after, he lost his job. So then that was kind of like the role switched, and um, I was just like not worried about it. I was like, at that point, his job was super stressful and not appreciative of what his efforts were and his contributions to the company. So, uh, honestly, we had already spoken. I had suggested maybe it was time to move on and find a place where he would be appreciated for what he has to offer. And so, um, yeah, so I was just supportive and I was like, you know what, no worries, nothing's gonna happen. Like you'll find work in no time. Um, and it'll be fine, right? Nothing is gonna happen. Oh my God, guys. Can you guys hear my cats like rustling through my office? It's driving me crazy. But uh yeah. So anyway, sorry. It's stupid. It's just bugging me because I can hear him just crawling through everything and like the rustling. So anyway, so I was like, hey, like this is probably like for your mental health, you needed a break, you weren't gonna take it, like it's a reset, you can find where you need to go. And so I was like, I'm not worried about it. Since he's gotten out the Navy, he hasn't had trouble finding work. He's really good at what he does. And so then I just thought it'll be fine. And so the months come around. The cats are getting taken away. Anyway, so yeah, so months come around, nothing. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be fine. And we're like just going through our savings like crazy. And so it starts to get a little scary. And so then it is scary. So we're both stuck, right? And so then we got to this place where we're like application after application, month after month, year after year, because I already hit 2 years. He's gonna hit 2 years in June, of denial after denial after denial. I have an education. He's a veteran. He has great, background experience. And so things got really rough and rocky for a bit. But at the same time, other things got better. So he had the time to take care of his mental health and just to get other things in order. We were able to just, kind of shift life. Things that we hadn't taken care of before because we were so busy working, we were able to now handle, right? But on the other hand, we had financial stress. And so it just became this real big struggle at home. And although I had just started contributing to the home, like honestly, he was the breadwinner. And so having that support and knowing that, things were taken care of in that aspect, um, was hard to let go of when it happened. So it was difficult for us. And so for him too, it was different. It was difficult for different reasons. He's the breadwinner and he always has been. And I think for men, not being able to provide just, brings up a whole lot of other issues. And so in conjunction, to both of us, we're just really struggling. I think mentally and emotionally, I mean, the obvious struggles like finances and all that, obviously, like those are there. But just other aspects of, home dynamics and family dynamics. And so that was really hard to navigate. And so, with that being said, I do have a per diem job, which means I work when I get called, which I'm grateful for now, right? And so I, that's what brought me to, make this episode. So, um, I think like all of us, when we're going through something rough, it's easy to complain, and it's valid to complain because we're going through so much crap that it's like, why me? Like, why the fuck is this shit happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? Like, I've been doing everything right. And so we try to find blame, right? And I think that that was my main issue. Um, and a lot of the time, honestly, I wanted to blame him, like this is his fault, but and I know it's not, and it wasn't. Um, but who do I blame, when there's no one to blame? And so that created a lot of problems. And so, um, I soon started shifting that blame on myself. And so that's what got me to the rut that I was in. And so then I got really depressed and I was just depressed and in my head because I found a way to blame myself and put the burden on myself because I am a fixer and I've always been a fixer. And not only that, I'm an overachiever. And whether that's trauma based or that's personality, I don't know. Maybe a little bit of both. Um, I've always been the fixer. I'm the oldest. I've always had to take charge when things went wrong. I helped find solutions. I helped my mom since I was really little to do a lot of stuff like translate and paperwork, this, that, or whatever. So, I've always been the person in charge, the person that fixes things and the person that gets things done, right? And so, um, me not being able to fix like this situation really, really took a toll on me. And so I began to blame myself and I began to ignore all the things that I was doing. And so I'm just beating myself up every day. And so, um, when in reality, I was doing all the things that was doing before, and working when I could. And, but that wasn't enough, right? And realistically, obviously, financially, it wasn't enough. And so that's okay. But I didn't see it as a positive thing, like, but at least I have some work, right? I was just like, it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. What else can I do? What am I not doing right? Why can't I do it right? Why can't I get more? And so, just shifting all that blame on me really took a toll because, you know, when we talk to ourselves and what we say to ourselves really does matter. It does affect how we think and how we function every day, and I'm sure you see posts on social media, like talk good to yourself, look in the mirror, say positive things. Like when they say, if you say like that experiment they did with plants, right? Of saying positive words and affirmations to your plants, and the ones that didn't get that, they died, right? And the ones that did get that, they thrive. So, um, it's true. So I've sat here for the better part of a year downing myself. And beating on myself and putting myself down, and putting all this extra needed pressure that I didn't need because there's already enough pressure with the situation. And so I just really got into this deep depression, and I started not doing all the things that I love to do. So I stopped recording. I stopped being present, not only on social media, not only for the page, not only for the business, not only for the concept and the message. And I stopped being present for myself. I stopped being present for my kids and for my husband. And I was just in a rut, in a circle, just downing myself and thinking like I'm the problem. And I'm continuing to be the problem because I'm not fixing the solution. I'm not finding a solution. Um, and no matter how much I tried to reframe that thinking, I couldn't. And I stopped working out. I stopped, I stopped doing all the things that I love to do, reading, writing, um, everything. Just everything. I just became this like bitter little angry person. And as the weeks went by, I didn't like who I was becoming. And I would tell myself, like, okay, tomorrow, getting out of bed, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna go on a run. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna ride the Peloton, whatever. I'm gonna get myself back on track, do my thing, whatever. And most of the time, it did not happen. And then there were days that it did happen, and I do it one day, I do it 2 days in a row, 3 days in a row, and then that negative self-talk, right? Like, the fuck am I doing? This is stupid. Like, we're still struggling. Like, what am I doing? Not doing right? What did I go to school for? Why did I even waste my time? And so, all these things, right? Just creating all this blame and putting all this extra pressure on myself on top of the pressure that I already had. And so, um, I just, you would think that that only would attack me, right? But then it's just like, mm, it's like a virus that just kind of spreads, right? It starts spreading to everyone. So now it's like getting to my kids, now it's getting to my husband, and now I'm creating a whole different problem because now I'm creating this negative environment because I'm just being fuchi, like I'm being negative to myself. I'm just being freaking grumpy and ungrateful and just being unnecessarily not nice. And so what happened is that I decided to make a change and a choice. I said, what can I do right now to change my life? And I said, I've been stuck for almost 2 years, and everything I keep doing gives me the same result. So, what do I need to do, right, to make this change? And so, my husband and I both decided to go back to school. For me, I thought I was done, God, but I made a decision, right? I said, this is clearly not working. Whatever life lesson, whatever reshift, whatever it is, that there's something that we need to change. So we both made this decision. Cool. So of course I start, and guess who starts getting more work? So so then I'm like, holy shit. So now I'm like overly impacted, right? And so then now I start complaining about that. And so now I'm like upset because now I don't have time, and now things didn't work out how I wanted. And like I already made this commitment, and I'm a commitment person. Like I commit. When I make a commitment, that's it. I'm not gonna back down. I'm not gonna make excuses. I'm gonna go full force I've I've done all my life, right? And so I think that's the thing too. Like when I commit fully. And so I don't know how to make space or like minimize and say, like, okay, well, now I'm going to chunk a little bit of me for here and a little bit of me for that. And no, I like to go 100% in every direction that I'm going at the moment in my life. And so, excuse me. And so like, I don't know, is that unrealistic? I don't know. But that's just who I am, and that's just how I function. And honestly, it's like high functioning anxiety, I guess. I mean, if I have to just be doing stuff and be busy all the time, and that's just who I am. But in this moment that I got literally what I was looking for and what I like to do, or the environment that I like to be in, again, now I'm like complaining and bitching and just wah wah wah, right? And again, that's not who I am. And so I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with me? And so it's funny because one day we were in class and we did like this 2 minute check-in, like what level are you at today, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm like at a two, and literally like my professor, everybody could just, they could feel my energy. They just, the way I said it, like I could even feel it. Like I was giving like this drained energy, right? And so then, you know, my professor was like, you know what, just shake it off. It's temporary. Got it. You feel that way, but it's fine, right? And I was like, yeah. So then we took a break, and one of my classmates actually made a comment to me. She's like, yeah, but hey, you were working though. Like that's a good thing, you know? And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, why am I complaining about that? Like, that's what I asked for last year. Last year I wanted to work. That's all I wanted. I just wanted to work. And now I have it, maybe not in the way that I wanted it, but I have it, right? And so then I was like, well, shit, man. Um, I didn't think about it that way. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm being ungrateful. And so in that moment, I kind of shifted that mentality and I was just like, man, I'm just being ungrateful. Like, what am I complaining about? A year ago, I was crying that I didn't have this. Now I have it and I'm complaining about it. And so, yes, I'm exhausted. Yes, it's not consistent. Yes, it's not the way I wanted things to work out, but I have it. I asked for it. God, the universe, the stars, the angel, whatever, gave it to me. And so I was like, I need to freaking stop. Like, why do I do this? Why am I doing this? And so part of me, so I started reflecting, and part of me thought, like, okay, it's just maybe my depression. Like, I'm depressed. It's been a hard year, and it's hard. Life has been hard. And so to get out of that, like, it's hard when you're deep in it. And so I was deep in it, and I was. And so I think that what I just showed you guys, like what my office looks like right now, it's a clear picture of that. Like that's how I feel and I felt, and it reflects externally. And so I might be able to um not show it where I don't need to, like in class or at work, or I might look like I have it together. But I didn't. I was falling apart, guys. Like I was falling apart, because I think I was mourning the loss of what my life was and what my family was. And I was mourning what we lost that we worked so hard to get, and so that's where my depression really came from, that loss of who we were, what we had, and who we used to be, right? And that's not necessarily a good or bad thing, but it's a reality. Um, we were no longer the way we were, right? In every aspect, the way, the dynamic of the household and so on. And so I think it's important to talk about how we can grieve those things. There's grief in everything that we lose. And most of the time I think people think that grief is only when, you lose a person. And when someone dies or pet dies, a person dies, And so that's not necessarily true. We can grieve our situations, we can grieve our experiences, um, because those things are all valid and they're all part of our existence, right? And those are the things that make us who we are and who really, well, and the things that really uh, create value in our everyday life, right? And so I came to realize that I grieved. I was grieving that loss, and I still hadn't come to terms with the fact that that life is gone, you know? And it had been for 2 years. Yeah, for me, 2 years. And but in turn, right? What did I get? And I got a lot. I got my husband's mental health, my daughter's health. We got peace in the home. We're evolving and we're becoming better. We're getting an education. Um, we still have a roof over our head. We still have food to eat. We have our health. We have our love. We have our family. Um, we still have good opportunities. We still have great friends, great family, um, a good support system, right? And so those are things that I didn't think. I was just thinking about, oh, how life used to be. But if I think back to how life used to be, it wasn't perfect either. Yeah, maybe financially we were stable, but that was it. We were dealing with a lot of crap at home, um, a lot of other problems, like I said, mental health, turmoil at home, mm, health issues, and so on. And so um, it was really hard to see that. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I'm seeing it happen and I see the good things that are coming into life, but at the same time, it's like I didn't see them. And so um, I started just to really analyze and say, like, you know what? I am grateful. Like, I need to stop complaining because right now I have what I wished I would have had 2 years ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, right? And just because I didn't get it the way that I wanted it doesn't mean that I don't have it. And the other thing too that I had to come to peace with, and I realized, and I came to peace with, was that I am enough, and that I do enough. And that was a really hard one. And actually, I think last week was like when I came to like full circle because not only was it therapy, but it was a friend, Miss Moon Cupio out there, if you're listening or watching. From both people, same week, I heard the same message. And the message was that I don't validate myself enough and I don't take credit enough for the things that I do. And, oh, sorry, guys. It's the trash truck. Anyway, so um, the other problem that I was having, I think that was not helping me get past those negative feelings and that negative self-talk and that depression was that feeling of that I'm not enough and I don't do enough. And I know that that is a deep-rooted thought and emotion feeling that I have from trauma, right? And so um, going through, like I've said before, MST, being a survivor of that, and a survivor of domestic violence. Um, that leaves a really deep cut, you know, it really brings down your self-value. Um, and the way you look at yourself. And I'm not knocking all the work that I've done and how far I've gotten and the healing that I've done. But those wounds are still there. And so it's like a subconscious thought. Um, and it's not like every day I look at myself and I think, oh, you're worthless, you're a piece of shit or whatever, right? But those feelings and those ideas and those those negative things that were said to me, and the negative treatment that I got does still, sometimes lay underneath the surface, and so um, when there's triggers, uh, it's easy for those feelings and those thoughts to seep through to the surface, right? And so I think that a lot of that comes from that. And so those old feelings of unworthiness, and not feeling good enough or thinking, like I wasn't important enough to, be valued as a person, to be treated that way, those old thoughts that come from that trauma. I think when you're really down, sometimes they just kind of seep through. And so I think that a lot of those feelings come from that. And so I realized last week, I had a session and, you know, he made a point and he made me realize like I don't give myself enough credit and I don't I don't appreciate who I am and who I've become and everything that I have to offer. And he was right. And my friend Stephanie, she was right too. Um, and and I am worthy, and I am smart, and I am good, and I am a hard worker, and I do have a lot to offer. I have a lot of experiences to share. I have a lot to say, and I have a good heart. I mean well. I want to help people. I am overall a good person, but when you're down in the dumps, like you don't see that and it's so much easier to talk down to yourself, especially when you're down, than to give yourself props and be like, girl, you're doing a good job. And so that's what I came to realize last week too. Like um my life's not that bad, guys. It's not as bad as I was convincing myself it was. And so I'm glad though that I was able to realize that and I was able to work through it. And it might have taken me a minute, a long minute. For sure, it took me a long ass minute. But I worked through it, and um, I was able to come back and reset and be grateful and give myself grace and realize like, I can't do all the things, but somehow I am doing all the things. Maybe not the way I want to do them, but I'm doing them, like I have goals, I have aspirations, I have, yeah, I have everything I need. And that's the key. Like, it's not about having everything we want, right? Because in a perfect world, but I do have everything I need. And that's health, mental health, some sanity, right? On and off, but sanity. I have love family. I have a great family. Um, I have a job. Again, like I said, I have a home, we have food. Like, what else is there to ask for? And so, um, I just want to say that anyone that's out there struggling and grieving for whatever reason, whatever anything might be, especially work. Let's make it about work. Right now, it's a crazy time. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of people losing work. The world is shifting. And for those of you out there losing work, for those of you grieving that specifically right now, like honestly, that's a hard one. And don't knock it, man, because we've been there. We're there. We're there, and it's not easy, and it's real grief, and it's hard to lose something that is part of your life and your identity, um, because it's a big part of who we are. We probably spend more time at work than we do at home. And so to lose that, is really to lose yourself. It's hard, it's difficult. Um, but don't get too lost. Don't go down that rabbit hole that I did. But do grieve your loss and feel your feelings and just reshift and realign your thoughts. And sometimes we need some change, and life has a funny way of forcing you to do something that you weren't willing to do on your own. I think sometimes I feel like that's part of it. And other times I feel like I still don't know what the reason is behind it. Um, but I do know that I have grown from this experience. I do know that it's difficult and it's scary as hell for sure. For sure. And I think that a lot of the decisions and feelings stem from the fear and the unknown. And so that's why it's so easy to kind of get lost in all of that. Um, but definitely you're not alone. And I know exactly what many of you are going through right now. And things will get better. Okay. So I think that's it for today. I think that's basically the message that I wanted to send. And I kind of just want to air that out. And yeah, I didn't realize how fitting it is to what's going on right now. Granted, what happened to us started 2 years ago. It's still kind of affecting the household, but it's a reality that a lot of people are going through right now. So I didn't do it with that intention. I just kind of realized that this is kind of what's going on right now. So with that being said, like I said, guys, keep your head up. It's hard out there, guys. It's hard out there, guys. For those of you that are not going through this, it's hard out there, you guys. Like that workforce, like applying whatever you want to call it, life is a hard one. We're out here going through it. So anyway, with that being said, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining. I missed you guys. Remember to drink your celery juice, keep hydrated, move your body, get out there, and make moto moves. Okay. I'll catch you guys soon. I'll talk to you next time. And again, thank you for listening. Love you guys. And just keep moving. Bye.